I don't have a microphone, and I'm hoping that the live stream will pick up well. I appreciate that there's been a little bit of a shorter notice. I felt that it was important to put in an extra principals update because there's a few things that have been happening over the last 4 weeks that I really wanted to bring you up to speed with. I'm not going to open the slide yet because I need to come out of it in about 30 seconds to show you something else. But what we're looking at today is 3 topics. One is parent communication and looking at how we're streamlining parent communication. One is discipline, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about that at the time in some of the instances that have come up that in working with parents there's a level of understanding that I think we need to be clear upon. And then a little bit more in terms of just an update on the school day as things move forward. So we're going to start with Dr. Granger, who is working in the admin team of the school. You may not know his face, but you'll see him in the photos in the yearbooks. And he's here to talk to you this morning about how he has been working to streamline communication with parents. So there's been some issues that we've been working through. For one example, you pick up the phone and you're waiting for somebody to finish the phone call before you can get through. So we know that there's frustrations there. We know that the office has 1 personnel at the moment. We're changing that to 2, hopefully from May the 1st. And that's going to help for parent communication, but there's still things we can do better. So Dr. Granger has a unique position in the school where he gets to look at all of our inefficiencies and bring us into a more streamlined, efficient, user-friendly way. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Granger. He might need a 30-second introduction, but he's going to talk particularly about communication and streamlining things for you. Dr. Granger?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Are we doing back and forth between Korean and English, or we
just yes.
Yes. Okay. So I don't have a place to necessarily clip this. I hope this is doing well, the mic. Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for having me. That was actually a really accurate introduction. My role is to see where we have frustrations or inefficiencies and to provide solutions that can help to fix those. And so we have 2 solutions that I want to roll out to elementary. One of them has already been on the Parent One link for some time, but it's been used for secondary. So it's been through testing and we've seen that it's worked well there. So we'll roll it out for, is it for tomorrow or Monday? Monday. Sorry, I forgot it was Friday. It'll be rolled out for Monday. So we're here on Parent One link. If you're not familiar with Parent One link, we can make sure that that's been shared correctly or properly. But on Parent One link, over here on the left side, you have the attendance communication icon. And so when you click on that, if you have something to share, do I need to pause for it?
No.
Okay. If you have something to share about your students' attendance, maybe they're not coming to school today, or maybe they're going to be late, or maybe yesterday they were at the doctor and you needed to send in a note from the doctor, like a document, that can all be done here. So you enter your email, whichever email you have already in PowerSchool. And so if you can't remember which email that is, check with the office to make sure you're using the correct email, and then that will provide you the opportunity to sign in, and you'll need to know your student ID number. And so if you have 2 or 3 children at TCIS, that's okay. Any ID will be fine. And then when you sign in, it's just a little form that lets you say, my daughter is going to be late, or you can type anything you need, you can attach a document, and then you can send. And so it's very quick and easy. It avoids having to maybe Kakao text or send a text or call or come in the office. It can just help everybody to be more efficient in communicating your needs to the school about your students' attendance.
I haven't said hello to parent, I just realised.
Ready to move on?
Parent test?
Oh, we could do, I didn't even think about that. Put in, yes, here, if you'll hold this. All right. Oops. Oh, I don't have one that I know.
Okay.
Hopefully it's super easy. I never thought of that. Good tip for next time. I'll set up a test for next time. Thank you. Sorry about that. It's funny because it's so easy. I didn't think it needed a test. If you can go back to Parent One Link. Another area that we know that there can be frustrations is, as Mr. Schofield said, trying to get a hold of someone in the office. Maybe you're calling, and you email, maybe you don't hear back right away, and you're really hoping to communicate. And so we've made a quick messenger. And so if you click on the quick messenger, similar to the other one, it opens up a very simple form. And this one you don't need to sign in for at all. You just put in your email at the top. Again, it's probably best if you use the email that you have in PowerSchool. And then you got it right here. He's already able to do this. And so you type in your student's name and their grade. And then when you submit it, your message goes to the elementary school office email as an email. And so on your phone, freeze there, pause there. On your phone, next time you open it, you don't have to type anything in again. It'll already have your email because it saves it on your phone. So if you restart your phone, it might disappear. You might need to try again to type it back in. But you can see it saves your student's name here. You can just click on that student name and away you go. If you have 2 or 3 students, anytime you've sent a message, it saves their name there for you. And again, the idea is to just make communication quick and easy, but also in one spot so that the elementary office can address everybody's needs efficiently. And then,
So I clicked on that then, so rather than typing in, so let's say I had somebody else there. Yeah. If I want, I just click on that one there and it resets to.
That's really what he wants to happen, because it was really hard to communicate with the office, and then we have to communicate with teachers and things like that. We send it, and then you're gonna see everybody.
And all your children will appear. Once you've done the first one, once you send the first one, the system will save your child. So if you have multiple children, you can just select on, as I just did there, if you had a different child there, if you just select on the child, it would automatically put, so you don't have to keep typing it in every time.
yeah. Can you scroll to the top and show us the top right corner? Can you click on the QR? And then if you would like to shoot that QR with your phone now, you can see it'll work on your phone right now. And then you can save that as, put it on your home screen or something.
바로 할 수 있어요. 지금 QR코드를 찍으시면 바로 지금 메신저로 연결이 되니까 한번 해보시기 바랍니다.
Yeah, good.
It's hopefully the first of a number of systems that we've been looking at in streamlining. As Dr. Granger said, we've already been piloting this in the secondary school for about a month, and it's improved the efficiency. Now that that's been tested, we're now bringing it down into elementary school. And we'll continue to look at parent communication as we move forward, and listen and respond to the frustrations that you have.
Parent One Link will soon include the lunch calendar, so you know what's coming at lunch. And any ideas that you have, things that you want to see on Parent One Link, just let us know. You can let Mr. Schofield know.
One of the other areas we've been looking at is the calendar, a parent calendar, and how we draw together for you a simple parent calendar that draws Mr. Yang's athletics calendar with meetings calendar from the ES office, with a calendar from the PTA, and it's all now going to be drawn into one place, and you'll have much more control over how you view that calendar. That's another new initiative that we're trying to streamline things for you, so you're not looking in multiple places on different calendars for the information you need. So there'll be a one-stop calendar as well. That's coming in hopefully next year.
We'll say New Year.
Yeah, New Year. Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah, thank you. Right.
원링크에 대해서 궁금하신 거 없으시죠? 현재까지는. 네.
I forgot my zapper, so I'm just going to move a little bit closer.
Oh, you've got.
Yeah, I know. So I can control that. Okay. So we talked about the Parent One link. The other thing I want to talk about is student discipline. And what we have is we have what we call a tiered behaviour policy. That's based around, I'm going to put the Korean up for you, progressive discipline. It's based around a series of tiers that if students repeat infractions at lower tiers, then it escalates the consequences. Now these tiers I'm going to run through, but essentially we take an approach of restorative action. We feel that whilst we have sanctions and consequences, and quite often there's that jump to, why don't you kick the child out of school? Well, that doesn't suit a heart of Christ, and everybody is loved, and we are young children, and young children make mistakes, and our role is education. So we look at it from a heart, heads, and minds perspective, and this will be shared. These will all be shared. This is extracts from our policy. I've just translated it briefly into Korean. I'll share this with you. But we take a restorative approach. What does that mean? We educate. Children will, and I'll give you an example from the other day. A child used an inappropriate word. They'd heard it from an older student and they used it, but they didn't know what the word meant. No idea. They didn't know that that was a bad word to be using. So we have a restorative conversation to say there are good words and there are bad words, and this is a bad word, and we don't use this word. But they're innocent. They're still growing. They're still finding their way. They're making mistakes. So we take a very education view where we put in restorative processes, and I'm going to talk you through the tiers. So the first tier, this is generally low level. It's causing a bit of a disruption, dealt with by the teacher who's there at the time, whether that's in the classroom or whether that's on the playground, in recess. But if there's a small what we call an unnecessary negative decision by the student, then that is dealt with what we call level 1. Examples of that, all these slides will be shared. Do you want to just, all the slides are shared.
지금 말씀하신 거는 전부 다 공유가 될 거라서 오늘은 잠시 들어주시면 되겠습니다.
So what we're talking about, so if a student's, and here's an example, some girls were playing ring around, running around like this, and maybe one's a little heavy-handed, that's rough play. Boys maybe just a little bit too hands-on, no intent, just excitement, exuberance, that's rough play. We deal with it, we don't accept rough play, that's a bit heavy-handed, you need to calm it down. We educate the student at the time in corrective action. So that's kind of level 1, breaking essential agreements in the class, keeping your own equipment, not messing with other people's equipment. Very low level, very low level. Now, if they keep repeating, it steps up a tier to tier 2. And there's also other things come in at tier 2. So what we call inappropriate negative choices. And what we're talking about here is that this may be dealt with by the teacher, but it may also require maybe some self-regulation, supports and strategies from the counsellor, or more people may become involved in supporting the child in restorative action to modify future behaviours. So at level 2, we're talking about things like unwanted or unintentional physical contact. So unsafe play. So just a little bit stepped up in terms of, so if somebody says no, and then somebody still, that's unwanted physical contact, that's breaking a level where the student has said no, I don't want to play, I don't want to join in this game, but they've still done it anyway. That would be an inappropriate negative choice because they haven't followed the wishes of the other student. So again, this is dealt with by the teachers, and can still be dealt with by the homeroom teacher. The homeroom teacher might bring the students together, do some restorative conversations, listen to perspectives. Apologies can be made, apologies can be accepted, and we can move forward in a positive manner that the students are still educated in terms of acceptable, inappropriate, appropriate, what's inappropriate. Where I come in tends to be when either this is repeated or a more serious level comes in, and we have 4 levels. And where I come in is when we have an undesirable negative. We call it undesirable. And here we have greater consequences. We will still have those restorative conversations, but we may have a principal's walk, where they walk with me and we have a conversation in more depth. So, for example, with a student who used the language, we went onto the swings. While that student was swinging, I was having a conversation with them about use of words, and I'm not angry at you because it's normal for you to use words that you hear around you. I know older students are using those words, but these are not words that you should be using. And so it's helping them educate, but that's a conversation now with me to escalate that level of seriousness for them as well, that they understand, oh, this is a little bit more serious because now the principal's talking to me. So a principal walk, maybe they go on a behaviour plan because they've repeated something and behaviours are repeated and they go on a behaviour plan. And again, normally the counsellor would be involved at this stage as well, because there may be some strategies for emotional regulation, there may be some strategies for making friendships, there may be strategies for frustration, but a different level of team can come in, and the learning support teacher can come in at this stage if it's based around other areas as well. So, depending on the level of the decision making of the child, depends on the level of the response. But at every single stage, it's framed around education and support. Education and support. Yes, we have consequences, and at this stage, at level 3, another consequence may be that they are isolated from their peers for a day. And that's a consequence because of the severity of the poor decision making. So the consequences step up as well. But more people get involved because it's more serious. Then we have a 4th level, which becomes incredibly serious. I should say, when it gets to level 3 or level 4, we have what we call a save violation. So at level 3, you may have, like I said earlier, vulgar language. That student who innocently had no idea what they were saying, but they were using vulgar language. Or there may be power or harm or intent. And there's a difference there in terms of intent. If a student is intentionally harming another student as opposed to inadvertently, accidentally. So if somebody has intent to harm, intent or threats to harm, then we come in at a more serious level. When we hit this level, these are called save violations. And a save violation is about keeping children safe from violence. Similarly, at level 4, this may become even more serious. So now we've got repetition of intent or possession of a weapon on the school site. We may have inappropriate touch. So if you think swimsuit, a girl's swimsuit, front of the body, round the back, boy's swimsuit, front of the body, round the back, inappropriate touch, areas that they're told not to touch at all, under any circumstances. And again, save violation. So what we're looking at this time is even more serious because we're talking about bullying, we're talking about racism, discrimination, and again, physical fighting, so where there's been actual bodily damage. Any questions on that? Because there's a translation here. Are we clear on that? Yeah? Okay? All right, okay. So we have a tiered system. Now, when we approach a SAVE violation, we are now, since 2023, under Korean law, since 2023, we have to report SAVE violations, racism, bullying, actual bodily harm, fighting, to the DMOE. That's the law now. We have to report. And we can be fined as a school if we don't report within 48 hours when we have uncovered an investigation that has unearthed a level of SAVE violations such as bullying or a physical fight. That has to be reported. We have no choice. The victim of a fight, as a parent, you have the right to also report to the DMOE, and that bypasses the school, and you have the right to report under those circumstances as well. So if you are the victim and the school has said, we've carried out an investigation and we found out that this is going on, you have the right also to say, right, well, I just want the DMOE to take this over. So if you don't do that as a parent, then the school has a process to follow. So what we have is something called an exclusive unit. The exclusive unit at level 3 will decide, is this something that needs to be reported, or is this something that we recommend the head of school, Mr. Moy Moy, resolves as a head of school resolution? Now that decision, so as a principal, we do our investigation, we uncover evidence, I say, I think this is a SAVE violation, I then take it to the exclusive unit, and the exclusive unit will then make that decision on whether we have a head of school resolution recommended, or it's recommended that we go to the DMOE for an external investigator to come in. So when we have SAVE 3 violations, that's when I inform the parents. I call the parents in and we have that conversation. I inform them that they also have the right to report if they want to. They have the right to report this to the DMOE, or if they would like the school to take care of this, then I would put that in the recommendation to the exclusive unit. And I would say, I've spoken to the parents would like us to look after this, the parents would like us to look after it, and therefore that would also go into the exclusive unit's decision-making process at grade 3. At level 4, it goes straight to the DMOE. But at level 3 is a bit trickier. Is it bullying? Is it inappropriate touch that it has intent? Or was it just an accident that somebody was touched on the bum? So we have a process in place at level 3 to make a decision whether this is something that the school will take care of or something that the DMOE will take care of. And the exclusive unit makes that decision. And this is now, so we have to report, even if it's a head of school resolution, if we've uncovered evidence of a SAVE 3 violation, we tell the DMOE we are investigating a SAVE violation, and then they say, finish your investigation, and then when you've got finish the investigation, tell us what you want to do. And so the exclusive unit will make that. I still report, even if it's a head of school resolution. I have to legally report. That's changed since 2023. There is a legal process, of course, level 4, there is a process for this, and this is in the slides. but it just takes you through a flow chart of that process for the school, and then our legal responsibility with the DMOE. And if there is a level 3 violation, when I speak to the parents, both of the alleged victim and the alleged perpetrator, I share this with them. Yeah. And as I said, at this point, if the victim's parents say, I want the DMOE, it goes straight to the DMOE. So I had a couple of cases recently this year where the parents have said, no, we trust in the school, we want the school to resolve this, and we've gone down a head of school resolution. Thankfully, never anything that has got to a level 4, that means I have to report to the DMOE with no choice. Yeah? But our hands are tied here, and parents find that quite hard to understand, and they often will ask me, tell me more information, tell me what my child has done, and I can't. I cannot share, and that can be frustrating for a parent, because we're in an investigation, and there's alleged actions over here, we've got evidence of, supporting evidence here, and I can't share it all. I'm not allowed to, and that's so frustrating. And a parent says, I really need to know, and I try and explain within the realms of what I'm legally allowed to share. But that's to protect all students in the school. I can't share names of other students, I can't share who was there, witnesses, I can't show CCTV footage. I'm not allowed to do that, I'm legally bound. And that's quite frustrating as a parent. But you have to understand, we are always acting in the interest of every child, and that is supporting the victim's family and supporting every other family who's involved equally. We offer the same amount of support to every child in all circumstances, because it's about educating the child in every single way. It's not about punishing a child. We're not into punishing children, we're educating them to make better decisions. But it can be frustrating from a parent's perspective, because it's limited what we can share with you. And we are bound. We are legally bound here. And that can be really frustrating. But the school will always act in the interest of every child and saving and moving forward in education and restoration and forgiveness and compassion and love, sharing our principles that actually we need to show respect and love for everybody. And we protect children who've just made a bad decision. They're growing up. We're not here to vilify them. We're not on a witch hunt. We're here to support. But our processes are legally constrained. Now, where this is less clear in parents is the idea of what is bullying and what is not bullying. Quite often I will hear a parent say, my child's being bullied, and actually they're not. And the definition of what bullying is an imbalance of power. It's where you have a non-one-sided conflict. It has directed intent, is repeated. And that's really important, repeated. Two children having an argument, and one says something to the other one, is not bullying. It's not, it's a conflict. It's two children having an argument. Now, there might be unpleasant words said, and that will come in under our behaviour policy under level 2 or level 3, depending on what was said, and that will be dealt with accordingly, but it's not bullying. But if it was 5 people saying that to one person, now we have a power imbalance. We have one person surrounded by 5 people, and now we have a power imbalance. And now that does become bullying, Because it's not a one-on-one conflict anymore. Because there's a power dynamic. There's a fear culture of an individual against a group. So there's power. So bullying is the nuances of bullying are difficult sometimes for parents to understand. But it is not something where a child is accidentally hurt by somebody else on a one-off incident. That's just unfortunate accident where they got hurt on a one-off incident. It's not a one-time argument, or even an argument between two people that goes on and on and on and on, if that argument is balanced and these are doing the same as these, and they're both arguing to and fro. That's a disagreement. That's not bullying. So, having one bad day, sorry, it's Korean, having one bad day, it's not bullying. So we need to look at repetition, we need to look at intent, we need to look at power, and we need to make a decision as a school. And that's where our experience as educators and the investigation comes in, and that's where sometimes I will make a call as an investigating officer and say, in my recommendation as an investigating officer, I believe that this is bullying, and at that point it goes to the exclusive unit for decision making. Does the school look after it, or does the DMOE look after it? But bullying's the one that is the one that's most thrown around in communication from parents when it's not bullying. But there has been a disagreement, or there has been unintentional hurt, or there has been bad words said. But we deal with that as isolated individual incidences. And we deal with that at level 2 or level 3, according to the severity of the incident, by me and my team in school. Now, I did have a video, but it's not working. The sound's not working. Hopefully the video will work in the link. It is in English, but it gives you an idea about what is classified as bullying and not. So I'll see if I can get that to work before I send the link out. It's not working. Right. Then we have child protection. And child protection is what we call safeguarding, keeping your child safe from harm. Emotional harm, physical harm, sexual abuse, and neglect. So my role in the school is to ensure that every child is safe, every child feels safe, every child has a respected, trusted adult that they can speak to, that if anything's going on at home, outside of the home, or in school, they feel confident to tell somebody. And when that happens, we act. And that could be, my mum hit me with a coat hanger last night because I didn't do my maths homework. Well, under Korean law now, I have to report that, because there is a zero tolerance in Korea now. When I left Korea in 2018, it was possible to flick your child. Have you all played the game? You get flicks on the forehead or flick. You're not allowed to do that anymore as a parent. You're not allowed to flick your child. You can't do anything. You're not allowed to use force or threats or emotional blackmail, because it comes under child abuse. And we have to legally report if that's disclosed. Why? Because we are protecting the child's interests, and their protection will come above any relationship that we may have in the school as parents. We legally have to report. And it's now in Korea zero tolerance. You can't smack your child. You can't flick your child. You can't emotionally blackmail your child. And look, we're parents. I'm sure you know. Like before I came back to Korea, I used to give my daughter a flick on the arm, because in China that was fine. You could give a flick on the arm. In the UK, as long as you don't leave a mark and as long as you don't hit hard, and you know, but come back to Korea, 0. So if a child reports something to us, our mandate is to report straight away. Our legal mandate is to report straight away. And that's a change for parents, and that's difficult. I've had a number of conversations with parents who ask me, how do I discipline my child? You know, what? Give me some tips. And that's where Miss Kim, our school counsellor, comes in. How, you know, give me some help. I'm struggling at home. What do you do in school? What can I do at home that's the same? How can I show that consistency in approaches? So many parents come to me or come to the team and say, or come to the homeroom teacher and say, help me. Parenting's not easy. Help me. It's not easy. And I'm losing it, and I'm frustrated all the time. And he won't do this or she won't do that. How? Help me. And that's what we're here for. Our partnership's there to help you. Miss Kim will work with you and say, here's some strategies you could try at home. I'll share experiences that I've worked with students and strategies that we use. But you need to understand the days when, let's go back even further in Korea, let's go back to 2009. In 2009, schools had the rights to hit children in schools in 2009. Yeah, that, you know, it's gone from that to this side where it's 0, nothing at all. So we do have to legally report, and this is what we call safeguarding. And that could be neglect, it could be emotional, it could be physical, and our role is to protect the child and put their safety and their interests first. And then, as the law says, without delay. Without delay. So these are some changes in legislation that have come into place in about the last 2 or 3 years. And one of the parents of a level 3 asked me to make it clear to parents what the legislation says now, and with the school actions and where we will act and what we will act and how that process looks. So, which is why I'm talking to you about it today, because actually a parent asked me, I trust the school, I'm very happy with the way the school's dealt with this situation, but can you educate parents? Can you help parents to understand that this is not an easy process and that there are new legislations now? So. Do we have any questions on that? No? Okay. The last thing I wanted to update you on was just working a little bit more, just keeping this conversation about the school day and the school schedule. And I wanted to bring you into some conversations I've been having recently with teams. So, elementary school curriculum is a foundational skills curriculum. We teach English and maths and Korean. We teach content in sciences, in humanities, but essentially it's a future-ready curriculum. What should students be able to do by the time they go into middle school to be successful? What softer skills should we develop? And much of elementary school education is more on the social and emotional side as much as the academic side, because children are learning, they're making mistakes, they're learning social interaction. So as much emphasis in elementary is on social emotional as academic. But it's a foundational curriculum. It prepares students to make that next journey successfully in the middle school, high school and beyond, to know values of kindness and compassion, to know what service means and to have a heart of service, and to think about others' welfare as well as their own. These are just as important skills. But when we look at the academic skills, we need to make sure that we react to changing educational landscapes. And Korea, 10 years ago, if you went into a list of the Korean Ministry of Education, top 10 purposes of education, maths, memory retention, fluency in language. You go onto their website now and see what the Ministry of Education highlights as the purpose of education: teamwork, collaboration. It's changing. Education is changing. AI is here now. We can't wait another 5 years to start educating our children. So the landscape's changing around us. The expectation of employers has changed. So we have to react to that. So when we talk about foundational skills, we've been looking at, yes, English and maths, yes, looking at science and engineering, but how do we do digital literacy? Sorry, I'm going to go on to yours. How do we do digital literacy? How much do we look into AI? How much do we then look at presentation skills? How do we make sure that our students are exposed to teamwork, creativity, design thinking, convergent and divergent thinking, logical thinking, computational thinking? How do we ensure that we expose our students to the skills they need to be successful in middle school? So we are always reviewing our curriculum. So we've been having conversations around moving to a 7-block schedule. That's happening. We are having a 7-block schedule across the elementary school, 45-minute lessons. Why? Because we introduce intervention systems to close the gap for students who need it. We introduce STEM learning, so engineering, and we're introducing much more science, and we're trying to introduce some technology. But that 7-period day is happening. And then what we're looking at is a 8-period day for grades 4 and 5 on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to ensure that we create enough breadth for those pre-middle school students to bridge into middle school with a changing education. Do we start pushing into 3D printing? Yes, because they do 3D printing now in the middle school. So if our students are better supported in elementary, that's not that we're not doing a good job, but we're saying, well, how can we do this better? How can we support them for middle school better? The middle school, by the way, have been telling us that the last 2 years, the students coming through are more confident, they've got better teamwork, they've got better collaboration. So our team is doing a really good job. It's being noted by the middle school. But we don't want to just sit down and go, great, we're done. We're always looking to say, right, how can we do this better? How can we make this even better for our students? So that's the purpose behind the block schedule. And it's aiming at embedding some of those foundational skills in STEM in particular, science and technology, and project-based learning, and looking at more depth in the science and breadth in the science across every grade. So more science, which is why we created that 7-block day rather than the 6-block day. More science. So every student will get more science next year. Every student. Grade 4 and 5 will get even more, because they're going to get more engineering, more design thinking and engineering. So we're looking at those future-ready skills, critical thinking and communication in particular. We're looking at AI and how we utilize AI, and we use it already, by the way. Our students have Mr. Flint, who they use in grade 4. They use AI for video editing. So we're already integrating with AI in the elementary school, but we need to be thinking about our intentional, explicit, focused curriculum. We're looking at those other softer skills of self-management and independence and communication and research. We've just had the PYP exhibition where the students research a project for 10 weeks. So we already have these skills in our curriculum, just how can we make it even better? It's not saying that there's anything missing, because there's not. Our middle school counterparts are telling us how successful our cohorts are coming through. But we would still like to make it even better. That's part of our journey for your children. So in grade 4 and 5, we're looking at how do we enrich our curriculum to be more explicit. And it's only 3 lessons a week. If you think about it, that 8th block, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, grade 4 and 5, that's only 3 lessons a week. So how do we pack a lot into 3 lessons? Well, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at digital literacy, looking at how we look at performances. We're looking at presentation skills, and we've already got the green screen at the back of the Learning Commons now. We've got 3D printers, so we've got a STEAM teacher coming in next year. Swimming? Yes, next year for grade 4 and 5. Though what's been holding us up on the swimming is swimming pools. All the local pools have got fixed schedules and haven't got availability for us to take cruises. So, for example, I went to Bluebird over the hill and I asked them if we can rent their pool, and they said, sorry, we don't rent our pool out. I went down to the one in the middle of Daedra and I said, do you have any space? They said, we're booked. Because every Korean school is teaching basic swimming skills. So we've now found a swimming pool. We've got one. Mr. Yang, good on him. He's found us a swimming pool. So now we can put swimming. Why? Because we've got that slightly extended school day. It gives us time to travel there and back. Without that extended school day, I couldn't do it, because I'd be taking away from other instruction. But by extending that school day, I create that time for us to allow to travel there and back in the school day. So we now got swimming. We're in the process of booking it with the pool. We are in conversations with them now, and we're about to sign contracts. So these 3 periods a week are being very constructively used to enhance the experience of children in grade 4 and 5 to get them ready for grade 6. That's not that we're not doing a good job already, but it's about, let's see if we can do it a bit better. Without taking away instruction in maths, without taking away instruction in English. And actually, our grades K1 and 2 are going to get more English next year. They're going to get more English through this reshuffle from 6-period day to a 7-period day. Kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 are going to get more English. Grade 3, grade 4, grade 5 stay the same as this year, but the early years are actually going to have more English in the curriculum. That's how I'm using some of that time to improve early literacy foundations. Yeah, I think that's my last slide. I'm not sure what my last slide is. I've got a picture somewhere. No, that's my last slide. Okay. Do we have any questions on that? I'm trying to drip feed information every time we talk to try and explain some of the rationale behind changes and where we are. We listened to your feedback. The parents were very clear. They didn't want an extended school day for grades 1 to 3, or kinder to 3. So we've listened to the parents' feedback. Grade 4 and 5 parents, they were looking at the ages slightly differently, slightly older students. And there's still some things that we need to tweak for next year, but we're moving forward with more certainty in what that looks like for you. And hopefully you will get your student timetables by the end of May. So you'll know what your timetable looks like next year for your child and who your homeroom teacher is. That's my aim, to try and get that information out before the end of this year. So every child will know what their timetable is next year, what that looks like, the ebb and the flow of the week. There's still some conversations to be had around the enrichment program and how we schedule that. But we're working on that at the moment now that we have a clear direction in which to move. Whereas before we were in a consultation phase and we were trying to say, well, what do parents want to listen to the thoughts of the parents. Now we're in a position where we're saying, okay, well, this is where we think is now our direction moving forward. And that's where we've come down 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for grade 4 and 5. Any questions?
질문 있으실까요?
Well, it looks like you've had a very easy day.
Thank you. 혹시 질문 있으실까요? 없으실까요? 오늘 발표하신 슬라이드는 다 공유가 되실 겁니다.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
혹시 이거 말고 다른 질문 있으실까요?
There we go. Nothing? No? I hope that... have you finished? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Quinn. There's a lot of work we're doing on this year. Staff are appointed.